In the heart of West Africa lies Burkina Faso, a landlocked nation whose name means, land of honest men. But honesty alone couldn't protect it from decades of political turmoil, foreign exploitation, and rising terrorism. Then came a 34-year-old geologist-turned-soldier who would change everything. This is Ibrahim Traoré, Africa's youngest leader, Russia's newest ally, and to millions of young Africans across the continent, a digital messiah. March 14, 1988. In the small town of Bondoku, along the dusty road connecting Burkina Faso's major cities, Ibrahim Traoré was born into a world far removed from presidential palaces. Described by classmates as quiet and very talented, Traoré excelled in his studies. In 2006, he entered the University of Ouagadougou to study geology, a field that would teach him about the Earth's hidden treasures, knowledge he would later use to reclaim his nation's gold. By 2009, he graduated with honors. But instead of pursuing a career in mining or research, the 22-year-old made a decision that would change the course of African history. Traoré joined the army of Burkina Faso in 2010. At the Georges Namoano Military Academy, the geology graduate transformed into a soldier, graduating as a second lieutenant in 2012. But this wasn't just any soldier. After anti-aircraft training in Morocco, Lieutenant Traoré was deployed to northern Burkina Faso, then to Mali as part of MINUSMA, the UN peacekeeping mission. Here, fighting alongside international forces against terrorism, he witnessed firsthand the failures of foreign intervention. While politicians in Ouagadougou made promises, terror attacks increased. The Sahel was burning, and traditional solutions weren't working. Something radical was needed. January 2022, Lieutenant Colonel Paul-Henri Damiba overthrew President Roch Kabore, promising security and stability. But 8 months later, as attacks continued and French influence persisted, another soldier was watching and planning. September 30, 2022. In a swift, bloodless coup, 34-year-old Captain Ibrahim Traoré seized power from Damiba. His message was clear. The previous government had failed to address the security crisis and foreign interference. The army has decided to take its responsibilities, Traoré announced. At 34, he became not just Africa's youngest leader, but the second youngest head of state in the world. Traoré's vision extended beyond Burkina Faso's borders. He instrumental in founding the Alliance of Sahel States with Mali and Niger, 3 nations united in their rejection of Western influence and embrace of sovereignty. Where previous leaders had maintained colonial ties with France, Traoré chose defiance. French troops were asked to leave. Instead of Paris, Ouagadougou now looked to Moscow. The geologist president put his scientific knowledge to work. Gold mines were nationalized. Local industries were boosted. The goal? Make Burkina Faso self-sufficient and end decades of resource extraction by foreign powers. But perhaps nowhere is Traoré's influence more visible than online. Across Africa, young people have embraced him as a symbol of resistance and renewal. AI-generated images, deepfake anthems, and viral content have transformed the military leader into something unprecedented, a digital messiah. From Nigeria to Kenya, from Ghana to South Africa, young Africans see in Traoré what they want for their own countries. A leader who says no to the West, yes to Africa, and prioritizes African interests above all else. In a continent where many leaders are in their 70s and 80s, a 34-year-old president represents generational change. His message resonates. Africa's resources should benefit Africans, not former colonial masters. But revolution comes with risks. Last week, Traoré's government survived yet another apparent coup attempt, highlighting the fragility of his position and the ongoing political instability. Western governments view him with suspicion. Human rights organizations raise concerns about military rule. The international community questions whether his methods can bring lasting stability. Meanwhile, ordinary Burkinabés continue to face security challenges. Terror attacks persist, despite promises of change. The question remains: can revolutionary rhetoric translate into real security and prosperity? Traoré's rise reflects a broader trend across Africa. From Mali to Niger, from Guinea to Chad, young military officers are challenging established orders, often with popular support from citizens frustrated with traditional politics. His pivot away from France and toward Russia signals a dramatic shift in African geopolitics. For decades, former colonial powers maintained influence through economic and military ties. That era may be ending. To his supporters, Traoré represents authentic African leadership, young, determined, and uncompromising in the face of foreign pressure. To his critics, he embodies the risks of military rule and authoritarian tendencies. The ultimate test of Ibrahim Traoré's leadership will not be measured in social media likes or diplomatic protests, but in the lives of ordinary Burkinabés. Can he deliver the security, prosperity, and dignity he has promised? For millions of young Africans watching from across the continent, the answer to that question will determine whether Traoré's revolution represents genuine change, or just another false dawn. Ibrahim Traoré, geologist, soldier, revolutionary. At 34, he has already altered the trajectory of his nation and inspired a generation across Africa. Whether he becomes a transformative leader or a cautionary tale remains to be written. In the land of honest men, the youngest president in Africa continues his experiment in sovereignty, self-determination, and the radical idea that Africa's resources should serve Africa's people.